All right, so we wrapped up the writing as an inequality yesterday, so we need to do the ones that we write as interval notation. So 18, we're given -7 less than x less than -2. So writing it in interval notation, we do it in a parentheses. So because it's either parentheses or bracket depending, but since it's just less than, it's -7 to -2 and closing the parentheses off.
I think it's really funny because, like, okay, this has nothing to do with what we're learning, but Joelle, like, everyone around me, like, in science, Joelle sits right beside me, so it's like...
Remember, this is recording.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm just, like, in the corner by myself because
Oh.
all the volleyball team is around me.
It's like, I don't know where you were going with
Yeah,
that.
I know everyone's around me, but, like, the whole entire, like, it literally is like this in science because no one...
So you're always over by yourself?
Yes.
In Bible, I'm all by myself, too, because people that sat around me read
And then in English, it's like Garrett's right across from me, so it's like me and Garrett are the only one near each other. Because like the whole volleyball team's on this side.
And science, I sit like one desk over, like.
Yeah, it's like I'm just by myself.
But the thing is, in chemistry class, I have to move up because if I forget my glasses, because then I can't see the board.
Which is like pretty much every day.
But Garrett,
Yeah.
I did forget them today.
where does everyone sit? Like, doesn't Hope sit here? No, Ariel sits there. Doesn't Hope sit there?
No, I sit.
Or does Hope sit there?
Hope sits in front of me.
I sit here.
Is Joelle in this class?
Joelle sits there.
Oh, Garrett, you can't shake Joelle's seat.
I usually sit here.
It's okay for today. I don't care.
I'm
They
not-
told us to like give out seating charts, and I don't know if they like even
I'm
made
sure-
y'all aware that like last week they said that we're supposed to sit like in a certain spot at lunch. I don't even know if they told y'all that. You can't like mix grades and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah, they did tell us we couldn't mix.
Okay. Well,
Maybe
I wasn't
someone
sure
tried to
because
do
all
it.
that stuff was in my box while I was out last week. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miss Earhart, someone tried to do that, and yeah, someone got in trouble for doing that, basically.
It's
it
like
was
back
in
to
ninth
elementary
grade and 10th
school.
graders, and they were trying to sit together, and then they got in trouble because they realized that one of the tables were like completely empty.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, it helps with the quarantine thing. It just.
It's like just funny though, cause like the people who get Rona, just like a square around them is gone. And then
Well,
the people that
but
are
it's the square
vaccinated
around
are
them in
like
every
by
class.
themselves.
Right? So, like, what if, like, in every class somebody's sitting by someone different?
Well,
Everybody
yeah,
in
but
every
most
single
people don't
class
sit
would
by
have
different people.
quarantine then,
Like they
right?
sit around the same people every time.
It's true. I don't know.
I don't. I said
It's too crazy to me. I'm just glad I don't have to keep up with it. All right, so for this one, x is positive. What do we think this interval is going to be?
Are we drawing the graph or are we drawing like different?
The interval, so the parentheses.
So I'm guessing you're having infinity. So you have
It's
Zero or
one.
It's 0.
Zero.
because you can't be on 0.
0 is not technically positive or negative, but by it being a parentheses instead of a bracket, we're not including 0, but we're including everything after. So 0.000001 is now included in that. So
That
that's
makes
why.
sense. I'm stupid.
It's okay. I do that one because of that reason, because a lot of people think, oh, it's positive, it's got to start at 1. But if we were bracketing it off, then sure. But that technically doesn't make the statement true because
But were they
It's
were
just
to say like
anything
x is
positive.
negative, you would put negative infinity 0.
negative infinity to 0, and both would be in parentheses.
And does it matter which one goes first?
Yes, they have to be in order, like smallest to largest.
So if it's negative, if it said x is negative, the negative infinity is on the left. If it's x is positive, the positive infinity is on the right.
Yeah, so if it was this, it would look like that.
I still can't draw all those things. They look weird. I like try to turn my paper and make an 8, but it still ends up looking more like a butterfly.
Not a good one.
If it was another modification, let's say if it was x is 0, well, never mind. That's not going to really work. I was going to say if x is 0 or positive. Oh, no, that does work. No, stop that.
If it's 0 or
When you tap
positive.
your Apple
Wait, would you
Pencil-
have a bracket then on the 0 area?
Yeah, so if
You're
it's,
saying it is 0.
yeah, then it
It's
can
like
be
less than or
anything.
equal- or greater than.
Can be anything like that. So if it's, because that implies that now we are including 0.
When you like double tap your Apple Pencil, does it change what you're writing with? I see you tapping it all the time, and I'm like, is her hand shaking, or is she just?
No, it just, if you tap it, it changes, so I don't have to like go click it. But it has its pros and cons, because obviously sometimes I'm sitting here and I'm just like doing something like this and it just will change, and I'm like, ugh. And then I like go to write something and I erase
Erase it all.
everything. Or I go to erase something and I draw over top of it.
Hey, that works.
Sometimes. Alright, let's see. Did he talk last week with y'all about like bounded, unbounded,
Yeah.
open, close kind of thing? Okay. Endpoints, did he talk about those? Or not really,
I
maybe.
don't like endpoints as in like. We did like so much different stuff. Kind of hard to know what we did.
Yeah, we moved on to like P2 very fast. Like we took the like
Yeah, like we were doing
we
scatter
took the
plots.
notes and he's like, never mind. He said everything, gave us the homework,
And
and
then
the
the
next
next
day
day
we were
we
already
got-
on P2, and it's like
Okay, well, so for these ones, it says to convert to inequality notation. So I'm gonna. So we're gonna do that, and then it wants to know the endpoint and if it's bounded or unbounded in its type.
Is this where we do like the?
yeah, we didn't do these.
Yeah, we don't.
It's one of those things that it's beneficial to know. It's not something you'll necessarily see a whole lot right now, but it helps kind of as you keep going in the year to like understand this stuff. So that's kind of why. So with this one, we're given -3 to -1.
So would the is it like endpoints that's like on the y and x axis?
No. So this is an interval. So it's saying that everything between -3 and -1 is in this interval. So -2, -2.75, -1.33,
So
like
would it be,
everything there is in this interval.
Okay, so
So we
anytime-
first want to convert it to inequality notation.
so then you do -3 is
Less than x, less than -1.
yeah, less than x.
Can you just say x is less than?
So we know that x has to be in that interval, and it's not equal to -3 or -1 because of the parentheses. It tells us we're not including those, so that's why we use the less than signs, and so it's got to be in that.
So would it be unbounded, bounded,
Bounded.
bounded, because it doesn't have an equal, or does it not have to do it?
Well, hold on just a second, because my initial thought was unbounded, but I have on my paper that it's bounded, so I need to verify.
This is it.
Oh, it's right. Bounded is if there's numbers on both ends. Unbounded is if an infinity is included.
So it is bounded.
Yes. So it is bounded.
And then the type.
The endpoints are it doesn't include -3 and -1. So like their endpoints can like
So endpoints don't have to be included. So when it asks for endpoints, the only thing that can't be an endpoint is infinity, because it technically we don't know what that is. So if you have one that's just got like -3 to infinity, then -3 is your only endpoint.
okay, so then the endpoints for this are -3 and -1.
Yes.
And I have no idea how to figure out the type.
Is it open or closed?
Oh, open.
Open.
Yeah, it's open. And that goes back to those two charts that I think y'all said he put up, but if you need to get, I think Berkeley, you still need to get them right.
Yeah, I do.
But it shows you in that chart, and that's part of the reason I give you the chart is because it shows you interval notation, type, and it shows you inequality notation and then a graph of what it looks like. So you could answer these questions given any of this information there. But it's open if it's got a parentheses. If it's got a bracket on one side and a parentheses on the other, it's half open. So that's kind of the thing there. So looking at one other one, 32, we got -6 to infinity. So what would my inequality notation be for this?
X.
Okay, so if -6 is less than or equal to x.
What would
Oh
you
wait,
have?
you don't.
You don't need to put
You
the
technically
infinity.
don't need to have the infinity, do you?
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. So you have two possible options here. You can do it this way, or you can do that. If you're not going to write the infinity, I would prefer it to look like this so that your x is on the left. It just makes it easier for everybody's to be the same, but it doesn't have to necessarily be that way. So then endpoints,
It would be.
-6.
Well, yeah, because you can't do infinity.
yeah, just -6, not infinity.
It is unbounded. And it is
Okay.
half open.
Half.
So with
Right?
ones that are like this with infinity,
No, it's open.
it's considered closed
Oh,
unless
yeah,
it's
and
both a parentheses.
because
Okay,
you
so if
can't
there's
have
numbers on
infinity.
both sides, if it's a parentheses and a bracket, it's half open. If it's an infinity on one side, but it's a bracket on the other, then it's closed.
That's because you
Yeah,
can't
it goes on
bracket
forever.
infinity. Because it's like, that's the same, this is like where it ends, and it's like,
Yes.
infinity doesn't end, so it can never.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense now.
Let's see. Alright, the next ones are just the distributive property. And just like writing the stuff. So we've got number 38, y minus z cubed times c, and it just wants us to write it, basically just distribute and write the answer. So what would we have there?
C, Y, sorry, Griffin.
Would it be, well, do you want the C first or the Y first? It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
I have YC minus ZC, well, Z to the third C.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cubed, not squared.
Yeah. So if you do it that way, that's fine. Or either way it can be written. It doesn't matter, okay, due to all the different properties we have. But you can write it either way. Okay, and if I gave you this to start with, you could pull the C out, okay, of both pieces and do it that way. Let's see. Just a couple little exponent things here. I may not do a lot of them. Might just pick one of the harder ones and do it here. But it's just to simplify the expression. So, why does it keep moving? Do a hard one. 4a cubed b over a squared b cubed times 3b squared over 2a squared b to the fourth. So basically we just need to combine things and cancel stuff out so that the numbers are all written together or as close together as possible, and then all the a's together and all the b's together. Obviously with the numbers, if you have something that can't cancel top and bottom, like, for example, if there's a 4 on the top and a 3 on the bottom, you obviously can't cancel those. You don't need to move the 3 to the 4 or whatever. You can just leave that. But the variables need to be all the way down so that they're all together. So, any recommendations on how I should start this one?
Well, do you have to solve what's in like each parenthesis first, and then you can multiply them? Or like,
Can you like separate them first? Like separate the B's and the A's?
What do you mean?
Like,
Just put all the A's in one parentheses and all the B's in another one?
well, like all the A's and, well, I did it like 4A to the third over A to the second. Like, and then I put another parenthesis on it. Because you can't really do anything with the other following one.
well, there is one B. It would just be negative.
So a lot of times I actually go ahead and combine, like if I have 2 separate parentheses, I'll combine everything on the top and then everything on the bottom, and then I'll split.
You can like just
Okay,
block
so
it
if you
Yeah.
multiply them already,
So like I would start with, I'll explain how I would do the top. So I would start with the 4 and the 3 on the top and combine those two.
A to the third.
There's no A's in the second one, so yeah, you can just write down A to the third, and then I would combine the B's.
B to the third.
So that would give you B to the third.
And then it would be over 2. A to the, I want to say the 4th.
Yes.
Well, you can't even be wrong there because 2 times 2 is 4 and 2 plus 2 is 4, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, now it's
If you're multiplying, you add the exponents.
That is true. So then it's B to the 7.
Yeah. And then now I have everything stacked. So if I wanted to group them, I could.
But how come you can combine 12 and, well, how come you can combine 4 and 3?
Because I'm just multiplying the numbers. The parentheses tell me that I'm just
You're
multiplying.
not adding
So
anything.
it doesn't matter if the exponents are the same at the end?
Not for multiplying.
If
If I was adding, then yes, because I'd have to have like terms.
So it's 6A to the negative 1, B to the negative 4.
Yeah, so the 12 and the 2 cancel down to be that. I obviously want to take the variables and move them to the smaller one to where the bigger one is, which in this case it's moving both of them to the bottom and
Oh,
subtracting their
so-
exponents. So
Quiet.
on the bottom, I'll end up with A to the 4 minus 3, so that's just going to leave me with an A. And then B to the 7 minus 3, which is going to be B to the 4.
Why did I do that? Oh my goodness. Okay, all good now.
And then there you would be done.
And use your restroom.
Scientific notation, did you go over that at all?
Well,
but
okay.
we're learning it in science.
already
Yeah,
did.
we just had an entire 10 questions on just scientific notation in the sheet that she gave us. So I think we're pretty okay.
Okay. So if you have something like,
That's a lot.
That is a lot of zeros. Okay.
You'd go
1, 2, 3. Can I come up?
do you want
with
me
that?
to do this for you as you count?
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it would
you
be
have
16 times 10
no,
to the negative 11.
1.6
1 point. Why? What the heck?
to
Why
the
is it
times
16?
10 to the negative 11.
There we go. So you don't say 16. I always.
That's
put
not
16.
exactly 58. That's a modified 58 because I didn't put as many zeros as they said. They had 19.
Who would sit there and count for that long?
And then they'd have, that would be 2 significant figures.
Mm-hmm.
Would be two significant figures.
See, we learned.
And then if I gave you something like, again, it's going to be modified because I don't want to have to write all of this, but if I gave you 6.73 times 10 to the, I'm just going to say to the 5th. That's
So
why
then you have
6, 7, 3,
0, 0.
Wait. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that is true. I have to always
yeah,
and it still has 3 significant
It
figures.
does still have 3 significant
it does. That's a true statement. And then the last thing that just kind of combines all of this together is 3.7 times 10 to the negative 7 4.3 times 10 to the 6
Oh, we did do this.
over 2.5 times 10 to the 7.
So you would combine you would just
All the
ignore
numbers.
the 6, the thingamabobbies, and you would multiply the 3.7 and the 4.3, and then you would combine the exponents.
I'm going to do it like this so that it just makes it
Times
easier.
10 to the negative 7
Yeah.
minus 6 minus 7.
And then you do the
Well,
work.
plus 6 minus 7, sorry. Oh, Larry's already like doing all
Yeah, you did. I just was showing how. Just because I a lot of times like to go ahead and split everything so that there's not confusion. It's just something I've learned that a lot of people
Who wants to actual math?
get things confused. What I'll tell you is, because I'm not sure I don't remember if I allow a calculator for this test off the top of my head. If I don't, you can just leave this like this. You don't have to multiply it, the left side. And then you would just need to show the exponents over here, what this would be.
Variables, exponents,
So over here, what happens with,
can't the 7, you cancel the 7 out?
It'd be negative 8, right? Right.
well,
I'm jumping the gun thing. Alright, wait.
are you saying it would be, you're saying 10 to the negative 8? Okay, I thought you were saying this was negative 8, and I was like, I don't
No.
think so.
Yeah, 10 to the negative 8. And it is, let's see.
So
About 6 point.
I would start with the top part here, so that would give you add the exponent, so that's going to give you 10 to the negative 1 over 10 to the 7. How do I get rid of a negative exponent?
Start the 7. Well, that's how I think of it, but you bring it over the top. And then
Okay,
make
put it where it ain't, make it positive. So that's going to give you 10 to the 7 plus 1, so that's going to give you 10 to the 8 on the bottom. Okay, then remember that's on the bottom of the fraction there. And then this comes out to be like 6.4-ish, something like that.
6.364.
Yeah, so we'll call it 6.4.
So we leave it like that?
So this is fine, or this is one instance where I don't care about negative exponents, because with scientific notation, obviously a lot of times we do have negative exponents. So
Can you just put 64 on the top there instead to make it 64 divided by 10 eighths?
no.
Oh yeah, never mind.
So either way, so in this case, if you didn't, like let's say you had up here, you had moved this 7 to the top instead and gone ahead and made it negative, only because we are dealing with scientific notation is that okay.
You can't have negative exponents in it.
Otherwise, no negative exponent. So like let's suppose back up here with 52, I couldn't have moved the b to the 7th to the top and left that as b to the negative 4. Okay. We don't want negative exponents unless it's scientific notation, because obviously this is telling us that we're moving it to the left. So that's the only time negative exponents are okay. Now, if you left it as this right here, I would also accept that. Okay. But technically with scientific notation, negative exponents are okay. That's the one time we can have those. What I'm going to do is, for the problems for this section, I think you guys said he already gave you some. I'm going to give off the problems that I would have assigned you. If you've already done them, that's fine. For this one section, I'm not going to require you to turn the homework in just because of all the chaos. I can make a tab, and if you want to submit it and want me to look at something, I can. But since this is kind of mostly review, I feel like it's not as big of a deal with this one section, just with everything that's going on. But again, since a lot of times, if I liked a problem once, I might like it again. I don't know what that was. That was really weird. I'll tell you what problems I would have assigned, and then you can look at them if you want. If you don't, and you're like, I know what I'm doing, totally fine too. For this one section only. So I would have assigned 1 through 21, every other odd, 29, 37, 39, and then technically day 2, I would have assigned 47, 51, 57, 61, and 63.
Yep, that's definitely what he gave us for
We
homework.
just
In
haven't
one
done.
day.
We haven't done 47, 51, 57, 60.
No, we've done 51, 60. We have done 51. Just not.
So if you did any other problems other than these, like if you, for example, like we didn't do like 25. If 25 is not something that I did an example on, like that kind of a problem, you won't see it. You don't need to worry about it because he may have covered a few problems that I don't really care about or whatever. If you did like problem 19, let's say, and that's not technically in my every other odd, that's not to say I wouldn't pull 19. It's not a bad thing that you've done it. It's probably going to be like 21. And honestly, I don't even know 1 through 21. You may not end on 21 because of the every other odd thing. I don't know. Mr. Castaway is really good at knowing exactly what numbers are in the every other odd. I have to sit there and count. So, anyways. So again, I'll make a tab. This is optional, okay, because you've already done so much with him. Just this, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be confusing if somebody doesn't listen to the video. If they don't listen to the video, then they're going to do all this homework, and they didn't have to. So, anyways.
Listen to the video, guys.
I'll do that, and I'll just leave that there.